Coming up next is Media News number 168. It's going to be an all-franchise edition of Media News, and we're going to talk about Space 2099. It's exactly what you think it is. We're also going to talk about Hannibal Lecter getting his own weekly TV series. Oh, boy. We're also going to cover...
Recipes galore.
Recipes galore. We're also going to cover the return of the Night Stalker. That's right, Carl Kolchak's coming back your way. Doctor Who, Sherlock, and a lot more. All that and more coming right up.
Wow. Media News with good old JR and Comic Book Man. Nobody wastes your time better.
Ignorance is bliss, knowledge is power, resistance is futile. Here endeth the lesson. Media News, episode 168, The Back Hair Gambit.
Hey folks, Comic Book Man here. Welcome once again to my video outhouse. It's time for
Media News.
Media News. Media News is coming to you from this place, Alternate Reality, which is located at the intersection of 111th and Kedzie in beautiful downtown Mount Greenwood.
It's always there.
Alternate Reality, where all new comics are always 15% off every day for everyone. This is an all-franchise edition of Media News, which of course means we're going to talk about those
McDonald's
projects.
And Burger King.
We're going to talk about those projects that keep coming back over and over and over again. You've seen them in comics, TV series, movies, lunchboxes, posters, whatever, novelizations.
And hygiene
they
products.
just keep going on, like
What?
Doctor Who.
Doctor Who.
Doctor Who,
Yes.
the grand old daddy almost of British franchises.
Oh, my goodness,
James
yeah.
Bond beats him out.
Yeah, that's
James
what
Bond
year's the
beats,
first
but not by much. Not by much.
a year or two, right?
James Bond, I think,
61?
was 61 or 62.
Wow, by a year or two. You are correct. Well,
And of course, Ian Fleming was writing him back in the 50s.
that is correct.
But anyway, we're talking about
That is
Doctor Who.
correct. Yes. Well, we all know that the show has been back now for 6 going on 7 seasons, hugely successful, steaming its way towards the 50th anniversary,
50th
in
anniversary.
2013. And
Yes.
the big rumor is right now for that 50th anniversary,
Yes.
one of his greatest foes outside of the Daleks, the Master, will be
Master.
returning, but with a different face.
I'm not going to get what's his face back
No.
from Life on
This
Mars.
is a different producer. No,
Okay.
we're going to make things different and new and wonderful.
Are we going to have a transition between the old guy and the new
I'm sure
guy?
there'll be some sort of explanation there someplace along the way, but the replacement who will be playing the Master, this is the rumor now, is we all know Stephen Moffat is producing Doctor Who. He also produces Sherlock, the immensely successful BBC Sherlock, which stars as Sherlock Benedict Cumberbatch, who also happens to be playing the villain in J.J. Abrams' Star Trek DOS.
Oh, okay.
He's playing the villain, the unnamed villain.
The unnamed
at this
villain.
time.
Con!
He is rumored to be playing the Master in the 50th anniversary season upcoming of Doctor Who.
Oh, okay.
So-
He's good. He's good. I've watched
He's a good
Sherlock.
actor, yeah.
I've watched Sherlock. The biggest problem I have with Sherlock is he only did like 3 of the damn things.
Well,
and I know
three-
they've got 3 more
three
planned, so then there'll be
coming, and then
6.
3 more planned after that. He's also in the Le Carre movie that was just out. The
Tinker
Tinker
Tailor?
Tailor Soldier Spy. He's sort of Cumberbatch is edging his way into movies now. So this may be one of his last hurrahs of television between Sherlock and Doctor Who. So, speaking of Sherlock.
Yes, which you
is,
just were.
Which is yes, I was. Which is an updating of the Sherlock Holmes stories by Arthur Conan Doyle into a modern setting and brilliantly done. CBS has decided, hey, that's a great idea. So they
We
approached.
can steal that.
They approached Stephen Moffat about that and said, hey, we'd like to do an Americanized version of it that takes place in New York. The talks broke off, and
As soon as I said New York version.
the talks broke off, and suddenly CBS decided, hey, we have an idea for a Sherlock Holmes series on our own in New York. We're going to call it Elementary. Elementary, yes. So it's coming your way, yes. And they've already hired John Lee Miller to play Holmes. I'm not familiar with John Lee Miller. And Lucy Liu will be playing Dr. Joan Watson.
Lucy Liu, huh?
Lucy Liu, formerly
Okay.
of Charlie's Angels. fame.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, as long as they're serious about it.
Ah, sure, Dr.
You betcha.
Joan Watson.
Dr. Joan Watson. You don't remember this, and I'm pulling this out of my butt, but I remember this.
Pew.
They did. There was a Sherlock Holmes done back in the late '80s, early '90s, I think.
Roger
CBS did it. No, this was made for TV, where Sherlock Holmes was like frozen for 100 years or 90 years or something.
Ooh, that rings that
and he
bell.
got got thawed out in, for some reason, Arizona or someplace.
It's like the Avengers.
and,
it's
he,
Captain
and, he,
America.
and he wound up in San Francisco with his own, I believe it was female version of Watson. This ground, believe it or not, has been plowed before. And you check your IMDb, because I am blanking on this, but I know they made it. It was a pilot. Never went any farther than a pilot, I don't think. But yeah, Sherlock Holmes in the 20th century is nothing new.
No, it isn't, but it's never been done right until Moffat did it with,
Well,
with
until Moffat
Sherlock.
did it.
And what CBS does it with Lucy Liu and John
Oh,
Lee
I'm
Miller.
sure it'll be wonderful. I'm sure it'll be wonderful.
Well, the rub here is that
six episodes and out.
Sherlock's not a Brit, he's an American. He's
Well, sure.
also had addiction problems. He's fresh out of rehab.
When does the BBC go to like Warner's and say we want to do a Batman set in London, and Bruce Wayne's parents get killed on a London subway?
Well, the word is that the BBC has their eyes on the CBS project to see if once it actually does come to fruition, if they have any grounds to do anything with it. It's real dicey because it's Conan Doyle and it's public domain for the most part. Okay. So where do you go with it? But Lucy Liu plays a disgraced surgeon who on the side is helping out the NYPD. And Holmes lives with her, so I'm sure the sexual tension will abound in this thing. So yeah, it's gonna be off in 4 weeks. Anyways,
you done?
I'm done with that.
Hannibal Lecter. No, not Hannibal across the Alps with Elvis. No. Hannibal Lecter.
Hannibal
Lecter. Three movies?
Oh, more than that. There's been remakes and sequels and prequels, and I couldn't even count them.
What kicks it into franchise news is TV series
television
now.
Well, we actually reported this in the past. It's coming as a television series. We already know that Brian Fuller, who did Pushing Daisies and Dead Like Me, is in charge of the series. Now, the interesting thing about this, we reported that NBC was interested in having Fuller write a script.
Right.
He wrote the pilot script, and NBC said, this pilot script is so damn good, we're going right to series with it without even you shooting the pilot.
Okay.
So that's actually unheard of in network television for a network to go ahead with a series based on the script only. So one good thing does come out of this story, Comic Book Man. We don't need a Hannibal Lecter series like we need another.
I'm trying to figure out how you do that. Hannibal kills people from week to week.
It's the early years of Hannibal Lecter when
he thinks about killing people.
When the character of, and maybe you can help me out with this, the police detective from Manhunter.
Jean Valjean?
No, not Les Miserables, Comic Book Man. I can't think of the detective's name, but it would be them kind of working
Lestrade?
together. No, working together to solve hideous crimes together.
So Hannibal was working with the police to solve
Yes,
crimes.
while he's in prison.
But you know what's going to come farther down the road.
Yes, exactly.
And the tension comes from when will he break?
No, the tension comes from how long until the show goes off the air.
It's funny when he was young, he opened a restaurant.
Yeah.
He opened a restaurant.
Very famous.
Famous restaurant.
And there wasn't one cat to be found in the neighborhood.
The one good thing that comes from this going to a series is that Brian Fuller's other project gets put on hold. His other project.
What was his other project?
His other project was the serious telling of the Munsters.
That's Bryan Singer. We've talked about that before. That was Bryan Singer.
It had a title. It was called Mockingbird Lane. And it's been put on hold because of the Hannibal series.
Good.
So thank you.
Good.
Yes.
Good.
There you go.
Agent Grimes? What was
I can't remember.
I can't remember his name either. Agent something.
Space, 1999.
Well,
Space, 1999.
Well,
comic TV series, technically movie. It was cut up, Destination Moonbase Alpha, and released overseas as a movie. Yeah, anyway, Space 1999 is one of those franchises that have been sitting out there and nobody's done anything with it until
now. Yes, ITV Studios.
And before you go on about, 1999. That was like 12 years ago, 13 years ago.
That's old.
No, there's a very simple fix to that.
Yes, there is. We are now going to get Space 2099.
And it'll be good for 80 more years.
Will it tie in with the Marvel 2099 universe?
Oh, God, I hope so. One disaster meeting another disaster.
I'd like to see that. ITV Studios, and if that rings a bell, ITV were the
ones.
Exactly.
Dun.
ITV Studios America. They have an American division. And HD Films are co-producing Space 2099. The word is that this is a reimagining of the Jerry Anderson series. Whether it will be something blowing up on the moon that throws it out of orbit, I don't know.
I've actually read a little bit about this. I'm a big Space 1999 fan. Don't send me any cards and letters. I know all the shortcomings of the series. I can list them backwards and forwards. It's a guilty pleasure on my part.
Will Maya be in the new?
God, I hope not. Anyway, I've seen some production art. They actually have a production art of an eagle all like busted up, sitting on the moon. And I read, and they get the tagline, which is from the pilot of the original series. John Koenig talking about man first took a great leap forward when he walked on the moon, but he was stumbling in the dark or something like that. Anyway, the producers did say that no, we are not going to blow the moon out of Earth's orbit because that is stupid.
Okay, what's going to be the explanation?
Well, it's a moon base.
That's all.
So instead of the moon going to them, they will come to us, I would assume.
Okay.
Well, aliens stop by the Earth like every other week in most series and TV shows and stuff.
I guess it still sounds kind of stupid.
Well,
like the female lead talks so quietly we can't understand her. What? Speak up. Would you?
And our final story. Oh, oh man,
Another TV series.
Another TV series. Another actually movie, which became a TV series.
Oh, and a damn good TV.
Damn good
movie,
TV
too.
series was Kolchak, the Night
Kolchak,
Stalker.
the Night Stalker.
The original
with
movie was just the Night Stalker. But
Darren McGavin.
the TV
yes.
series was Kolchak, the Night Stalker.
By the late great Dan Curtis.
Late great Dan Curtis, who couldn't in 1972-73 couldn't figure out the X-Files trick to making a series like that run for like 4 or 5 years, and so you wound up with a Monster of the Week thing, and you ran out of monsters after.
Well, he wasn't involved in the TV series.
No, he wasn't.
No, he was not. After the two TV movies,
Yeah.
ABC said, let's do a series. And Dan Curtis said, you can't do this as a TV series because it'll turn into Monster of the Week, and
Which
that's
is
going to
what
get
it was.
repetitive and old, and people are going to get sick of it. Guess what happened? He was prescient. The man was prescient. But it is coming back.
That won't stop somebody from remaking it.
And you know who's coming? You know who's remaking it?
Tonto?
Yes, the man with the crow on his head, ladies and gentlemen. Johnny Depp is
Yes.
producing and starring in The Night Stalker for the wonderful folks at Disney. Disney will
We're also remaking Dark Shadows. Disney?
No, Disney's not doing that. That's Warner Brothers.
Oh, they let him out the door?
Yeah.
To do that? Oh, Disney let
Tim
him out
Burton
the door to play in
through
another
Warner, or
sandbox.
20th Century Fox, but it's not Disney. It's not
Okay.
Disney. But Johnny Depp is doing every old TV show he can get his hands on. He'll probably turn up in Space 29. Actually, he's turning up in the remake of. He does a cameo in
What?
the first thing he ever did, the Fox series.
Oh, well, yeah.
21 Jump Street.
21 Jump Street.
He's
yeah.
doing a
21
cameo
Jump
in that
Street.
as well. But anyway,
Gilligan's Island.
Gilligan's Island.
Gilligan.
The good news about Night Stalker.
He could play
coming
Gilligan as a flouncy pirate.
A flouncy Tonto
Flouncy
with a
Tonto.
crow on his head.
With a crow.
Stop it, Skipper.
Taking a dump down the back of his neck.
The good news about the Night Stalker, though, is he's hired a very good director, Edgar Wright, who did Scott Pilgrim, Shaun of the Dead, and Hot Fuzz. Should bring something to this, if not a nice, edgy, comedic tone to it. Whether it'll be scary, like the first Night Stalker movie was, which was darn scary for the time, remains to be seen. But Johnny Depp mining more old TV shows and properties.
Scary's kind of hard to do. I mean, we're at a point now where people are so jaded.
Oh,
I
very
don't know
much
how
so.
you could actually make something like
But
that
just as long as
truly scary. The original Night Stalker was truly scary. I watched it when it first came
Yeah, that
on,
first
as I'm
film
sure
is-
you did.
yeah,
that
sure.
very first showing of that.
That was
thing. I
all the
remember
talk in school the next day, as I
Yeah.
recall, in high school the next day. But I hope it's not comedic. I would hate for it to become sort of a comedy-tinged monster show movie thing.
Time will tell, and our time is up. That's it. We're done. We're finished. We're out of here.
Back
We've
to
got
prison.
no more media news. Back to prison for you, son. But you go to the store's website. Check out all this man's reviews and all of Bo's media news. And where's the store's website at?
Is it on the computer?
I hope Kolchak doesn't have Sarah.
www.myalternatereality.com. It's just like Kool-Aid. Add sugar and vodka.
So stop off the store's website. Check out all his reviews, all of Bo's media news. Till next time, this is Comic Book Man.
And this is good old
JR.
JR.
Saying, bye.
Alternate Reality now opens at 10:30 instead of 11 on Sundays. Losing half an hour sleep over this. Means you guys better show up.
The Video Outhouse is brought to you by some of the finest people willing to work for free. This is a list of some of them.